You know, Andrew, I was thinking, before we start the next show, you know how we're always looking for great deals for our subscribers and our viewers?
Yeah?
Well, look at the deal I found. Free beer and liquor during all Montreal Canadiens playoff games. Can you get a better deal than that?
Dad, the Habs are not going to make the playoffs.
Oh, I get it. The Habs don't make the playoffs like they usually don't. And they don't... I get it.
Exactly.
Oh. Anyway, go Leafs go. Let's start the show.
This is the 10 Minutes with Andrew podcast. And now, here's Andrew.
If we took a holiday, some time to celebrate. Come on, let's celebrate. Just one day out of life.
Happy St. Patrick's Day and welcome back to 10 Minutes with Andrew. I am, of course, Andrew, and I'm again joined by my dad, Mark Chansey. Welcome back to the show.
That's Madonna.
It is Madonna.
Holiday is the song. It was put out in 1983.
God.
Some 41 years ago, long before you even entered the world.
Long before.
Madonna still performing, and as of right now, still the number one female recording artist of all time for the time being. I wonder, do you think Taylor Swift will pass her?
I would say.
You think?
Yeah.
All right.
Based on how fast her tour tickets sell. And
in the words of Joey Tribbiani, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's good.
St. Patrick's Day today.
St. Patrick's Day. We can't wear green today because we film in front of green screens, and if we did, we'd be
disappeared.
We'd be invisible.
We'd be invisible.
That's right.
Which wouldn't, maybe it would work. It'd be pretty cool. Invisible, just floating heads.
That would be a podcast, audio podcast.
That would be an audio podcast.
We do that already, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
So the Leafs, they lost last night 5-4 in a shootout.
Yeah, before I go on my Leafs rant for last night, they played the Flyers Thursday night. They only played 2 games this week.
Only 2 games. And they play the Flyers again on Tuesday.
Yeah. But did you see this from the Flyers game?
I did see that.
This is all over Reddit. And for those who are listening and not watching, we're putting up a screenshot from the game. The Leafs were on a power play. This was actually taken just as it was ending. The Flyers have 4 players on the ice, including plus their goalie. 3 of them have lost their sticks. There are 3 sticks on the ice. You see the 3 Flyers to the right of the screen, in behind the Leafs. None of them have a stick in their hand.
None of them. And that's incredible.
That is wild.
It's incredible.
I've never seen that, and oftentimes you see one guy will lose a stick.
It happens a lot.
Sometimes, maybe a second guy at the same time. Never would you see 3, and I don't even know if your chances of winning the lottery would be greater than that happening again in the NHL.
That is wild.
So,
3 people with no stick is incredible.
That's the good news.
It is the good news, I guess.
Let's talk about the Leafs.
All right. I'm going to let you do this because...
Well, I don't know if I'm just overreacting to this or not. But if the Leafs believe that they're in a better position for the playoffs this year because of all the lessons they've learned and everything else, I think they're going to be in for a world of hurt. There's a few things you have to have in the playoffs and have to do in the playoffs. And aside from good goaltending, which the Leafs haven't had an issue with that in the playoffs, that hasn't been their problem. You have to be able to lock down a game when you have the lead. You have to have special teams that will score you a few power play goals and a penalty kill that will prevent a few power play goals. Well, last night the Leafs lost a 3-goal lead and a 2-goal lead with 90 seconds left in the game. Their power play went 0 for 4. And a crucial one in overtime. They had a 4-on-3 for a full 2 minutes. They look absolutely lost on the power play. They had the hottest power play in the league in February. They had the worst power play in the league in March. Explain that one to me. And their penalty kill, they allowed 2 goals last night. You can't do it.
You can't.
So if this team thinks they're suited for the playoffs now, they are suited for a beatdown in the playoffs.
And
That's my Leaf rant.
I wonder if, and again, I don't know if this is true or not, but I wonder if this has anything to do with the fact that Mitch Marner isn't playing right now.
That has a lot to do with it. He does quarterback that power play,
He does.
but Mitch Marner doesn't show up in the playoffs, so what difference does it make?
Exactly.
This team is going to be in trouble, and maybe I'm overreacting, but what I saw last night was not a good sign for what's coming in April. I can tell you that right now. But let's move on from that.
Yeah.
What are we doing today, my son?
We're playing a game.
A game? So, I'm going to guess. We've done that one, and that one. This has to be one of my all-time favorites. Go ahead. What is it?
Today we are playing What Are the Chances?
Yes. What are the chances? How does that one work?
So, I have a statement here.
Yep.
I have a few statements, actually, and I'm going to read the statements to you. And if you think it's going to happen, it's a high percentage chancey that it will happen. And if you don't think it's going to happen, it's a low percentage chancey or chance.
And for those who are new, Andrew is quite famous for picking anywhere from 49 to 51% for pretty much every statement. He likes to sit on the fence, right?
That's true.
Oh, before we get going, happy Joey Votto Day.
Oh, yeah, he's debuting today
He's
against
supposed
the
to be
Phillies.
debuting against the Phillies and the spring training with the Blue Jays.
They
So
have a split squad day today. They have 2 games going on.
we'll see how that goes. That might be on television, so you might want to have a look in to see the 40-year-old Votto
The
as a Blue
40-year-old
Jay.
Votto, yep. Ready for the
So-
first statement?
We have 3 statements, you say?
We do.
Okay. Statement numero is...
Patrice Bergeron
Oh, yeah.
returns to the NHL. What are the chances of
Ooh.
Patrice Bergeron
We've seen-
returning to
We've
the
seen
NHL?
this before. I'm trying to remember who it was recently.
Mario Lemieux, wasn't it, with the Penguins? Didn't he
No, he
retire
was-
and come back with
I thought
Crosby?
he was sick. Didn't he come back from illness? Maybe. But anyway, no, I thought there was one more recently, but let's move on. Patrice Bergeron, the former center of the Boston Bruins, and a great center at that, is going to come back to an NHL team for the playoffs. Any
Yeah.
NHL team, because he could sign with any NHL team. I'm going to say no. There's a 10% chance of that happening. And the only reason I say that is I think we would have heard a bit about it. I think we would have had people saying he's been practicing, he's been working out, he's been doing whatever. And I don't know that we're hearing that. Not that he couldn't play, because he still looked pretty darn good last year. And really valuable face-off guy in the playoffs and a great center. But no, I'm going to say a 10% chancey on that one.
Yeah.
Let me guess, 50% for you?
No.
No?
There is a 0% chancey that Patrice Bergeron returns to the NHL.
That's pretty definitive, 0%.
And the reason I say that is because I think Patrice Bergeron, it took him a while. I don't know if you remember this, but in the offseason last year, it took him a while to announce his retirement because he was obviously mulling over. Does he play again with the Bruins or does he retire? I think you're right. We would have heard a lot more about it if he had if he's going to return. But I think it's a 0% chancey. I don't think he's going to return, not only just like this playoffs, but I think he's done playing hockey now.
Well, he said he's retiring, so can you imagine if he came back and he didn't go to the Bruins? And maybe he went to the Leafs and the Leafs played the Bruins?
That'd be
Oh, would that be
ridiculous.
fun?
That'd be crazy.
Anyway, before you go on to number 2, what do you think of the new mugs?
I think they're pretty good.
They hold a lot of liquid, too. Good stuff. 10 minutes with Andrew.
10 minutes with Andrew.
So we're on to statement numero 2. Go ahead, sir.
Joey Votto, speaking of, we just talked about him.
Joey Votto. Happy Joey Votto Day.
Happy
again.
Joey Votto Day. We'll play at least 50 games this year for the Toronto Blue Jays. What are the chances of that happening?
Joey Votto plays 50 games for the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, that would assume that he's going to make the roster out of spring training and get in pretty much, every third game. I'm going to say that's a low percentage chancey. I'm going to say that's 11.265% chancey on that one. 11.265%. I don't see it. What I think is going to happen, they're going to take him north for the start of the season to get some fans kind of excited, maybe get him out to the ballpark. And then I just don't know, maybe. But I don't think he's going to contribute at a level that they're going to be able to keep a roster spot for him. So 11.265% chancey that Joey Votto plays 50 games for the Blue Jays, in my opinion.
Well, in my opinion, I'm going to say it's a 15% chancey that Joey Votto plays 50 games for the Blue Jays. A little higher than you, but still low. I don't have all the crazy decimals that you have, but
I'm very precise.
I know. But the reason I say 15% is because I think Joey Votto will be used in a way where you'll have him on the bench, I think, a lot because he can probably bring a lot, and you could probably have him come in late in the game if you need him or something, because the fan base wants to. The fan base does not like Ross Atkins right now. They don't like management, and we're two good examples of that.
Even though you're wearing the Blue Jay hat.
I am right now. It's a spring training hat. And the reason I say that is because Joey Votto will be used to restore something into the fan base. Some goodwill into the fan base that makes them come back to Rogers Center and all that. So I'm going to say it's 15% chance. I don't think he'll play 50 games, but I think he'll maybe make a few appearances as late in the game, or have him on the bench a lot, and you can have him play and have the fans see a Canadian end his career with the Toronto Blue Jays.
And who knows? Maybe he bats .280 and hits 25 home runs and plays up all year.
That'd be great. We need that.
Just it's not likely, given that he's 40 years old and at the end of his career. Now, before we go on to number 3, don't forget, for our viewers and listeners, stay tuned, because in just a few minutes, we're going to give our updates on our weight loss progress. So stay tuned for that. Now we're going on to statement number 3.
The final statement, yes.
All right, let me hit the drum kit. Here it is. What is statement numero 3?
A Canadian team.
A Canadian team, like Montreal Canadiens?
Yes. Will win the Stanley Cup this year.
They're not.
For the first time in 31 years.
So a Canadian team wins the Stanley Cup this spring. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
0% chancey of that happening. 0% chancey. I can tell you one thing. Won't be an Eastern team that wins the Stanley Cup from Canada, because there's only one going to the playoffs, and they aren't winning the Cup. We know who they are, much as it breaks my heart. But I believe there's a good chance that a Canadian team will make the finals, whether that be Edmonton, Vancouver, or Winnipeg. But I just don't see anybody taking down the Colorado Avalanche when they get going this spring. So I'm going to say 0% chancey. And of the Canadian teams in the West that might make the finals, I got to put it on Connor's team that would probably be most likely to do it. I don't know if Vancouver's for real or not, and I know Winnipeg isn't for real. Sorry for all you Winnipeg Jets fans, but I just don't see it. Maybe the Edmonton Oilers get to the final, and Nathan McKinnon shows Connor McDavid how to play hockey. There's a statement for you.
Well,
0%, and you say?
You heard it here first, because I'm saying there's a 75% chancey that a Canadian team will win the Stanley Cup this year. It's not the Leafs, I can tell you that right now.
No.
We already knew that.
You're so smart.
But it's funny because you said the only team you think that would have a shot is the Oilers. It's funny because I think that the Oilers are the team that has the least shot at making it to the final. I don't see it in the Oilers. Mind you, they're having. I mean, McDavid's having a great year again.
Just remember
Zach
how
Hyman.
Remember how the Oilers started the year.
Yeah,
right.
That's
they
true.
weren't even a playoff team. Now they're challenging for top spot in the league. So they are rolling, and like you said, Zach Hyman closing in on 50 goals. But you put me with Connor McDavid, I could probably bag 50 myself.
And the team that I see having the best chance at it is probably the Vancouver Canucks.
Really?
Because I believe they're running away with the wild card in the not in the wild card, but in like the standings, are running away with the Pacific, I think.
No, I think it's closer than you think.
Yeah, and I say the Canucks because they have a good team. They've built a good team. They've had a good year all year. They didn't need to do a whole lot, and I see that because I don't think the Jets are for real. Sorry again, the Winnipeg Jets fans, but I think the Vancouver Canucks have the best shot at winning the Stanley Cup. So there's a 75% chance. I still think Colorado is going to go on an absolute tear, but I think there is a better chance than you think of a Canadian team winning the Stanley Cup.
And that's just for discussion. In reality, you don't care if you're a fan of a Canadian team. You don't care if another Canadian team wins it. It's not about bringing the cup to Canada.
No.
Leaf fans don't cheer for Montreal because they're the ones in the finals. And Vancouver Canucks fans don't cheer for the Leafs because they're the ones in the finals because they're from Canada. You cheer for your team.
Yeah.
But is the cup going to come back to a Canadian team this year? Andrew says there's a good chance there is. I say not a chance because Nathan MacKinnon is on a mission this year. He did not like getting bounced in the first round after winning the cup the year before. He's on a mission this year. Look out for Nathan MacKinnon.
And it's funny how we both agree that the Leafs have no shot.
No shot. Well, based on what I saw last night, they are so far from being a contender.
It's ridiculous.
Yep. So here we are. We're at that moment that we like to see how we did. We've started a weight loss journey. We're trying to lose quite a few pounds, actually. And we've been at it for a few weeks now. So you weighed in on Thursday.
I did.
What did the scale have to say to you, sir?
The scale told me I'm down 3.4 pounds.
3.4 pounds?
3.4.
3.4. Are you sure you read that right?
I did. And
3.4?
I've now lost 17 pounds in total.
Holy macaroni. Wow. Well, the scale told me I was down. Are you ready? Because you've been nervous ever since I
am
told
ready.
you.
I am ready.
I was down to 1.2.
1.2.
1.2
That's still
pounds.
good.
Oh,
That's still good.
I was expecting better because I worked out a lot last week. But anyway, 1.2 down. Not 3.4, but good for you. Good for us. We'll keep her going, hey?
Yeah, we're going to keep her going. And thank you for listening
And
watching for this episode of 10 Minutes with Andrew. If you found us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe.
Like us and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. And we'll be back next Sunday with the next episode.
All right. We'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.